Hey Matt, this is Mickey and Nicole. How you and the rest of the Freedom Corner? How you doing in there?
Hey, we're doing great. We're doing great. As promised yesterday, we had some kind of weird administrative snafu kind of interfere with things. But I have with me today one of the new 5 who came in yesterday. His name is Reed, as in slender as, and and his last name is Christiansen. Oh, Christiansen. Yeah. Okay. Can you guys hear his voice okay?
Yeah. Is Reed Christiansen? Is that what you said?
Reed. Yes. Yes.
Right. Yes, I believe.
So I'm say again.
I believe we did hear him. So have him say hey, so we know for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you first give your inmate number?
Okay, sure. Yeah, I've got a new ID. It's 386-516.
386-516.
Political prisoner 386-516.
Well,
yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, thank you for calling, and it's nice to meet and chat with you. Sorry it's under these circumstances, but you're with a good bunch of fellas, and I hope they're welcoming you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've been very impressed. What do they call it? The transfer block was a pretty rough place. It was a 23-hour lockdown, and a lot of angry young men being brought in off the streets, so it was noisy as heck. But it's been great here. The guy's been really welcoming. I'm an older fellow, so sometimes I get cold. I wrap a blanket around me when I walk around outside, and guys keep coming up and offering me long johns, and so it's been real great. So
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Chris, you're from Oregon, right?
Right. Yeah. My family, my wife's currently in Oregon. She's we live on 16 acres. I was an engineer working at Intel. We had a very nice spot of land in the Willamette Valley. Beautiful place. And anyways, I've had a couple strokes since January 6th, and fortunately, none of them have been paralyzing, although I do walk like I'm 80 years old. I'm 65. And she's having to sell everything and get it all cleaned up herself, and I've been worried as heck about her, but she's got 2 wonderful sisters, and she told me today that the 3 old ladies have cleaned up the place pretty nicely. And a lot of help from church people. I have to tell you a faith promoting story. It was, I think last week sometime, she was out in one of the barns and found some old stuff she needed to get rid of, and it was too heavy for her. And she said that night one of the church ladies called and said, I feel like my family and I should come over to help you tonight. So anyway, she's been getting help like that.
Well, that's
yeah,
nice.
so
anyway, like to hear
God's been looking out for her.
Good. Yeah, we like to hear those true humanity stories where people are caring for each other. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Gives us hope in each other.
So Reed has done some missionary work in Korea.
Yeah. When I've been church going my whole life. My family was religious. My dad was a fighter pilot for the U.S. Air Force, flew F-102 and F-106. But he's not a Tom Cruise kind of guy. He's a quiet, religious person. In fact, I remember once being somewhat shocked when my dad told me to go get the turds out of the cat litter box because I thought he'd sworn. And toughest language I ever heard from my dad. Anyways, he raised us all, and my mom raised us going to church, and so I grew up that way. And when I was younger, from 19 to 21, I was a missionary in Korea for 2 years, and got to live among the Korean people and learned some Korean. Forgot a lot now, but I can still sometimes go into a restaurant. I can tell if they're speaking Korean, and I can wow for about 20 minutes before they realize I've forgotten a lot. But it's fun, and one of the best times of my life.
All right. Well, good for you. I'm glad that you had that experience. Maybe you can draw on those pleasant experiences while you're locked up in there, and just have a place to go to in your head, your happy place. So God bless.
Yeah, well, and there's a nice group of fellows here that invited me to a prayer circle, and they have a Bible study. So I get to get out of my cell once in a while and and join with other folks. So.
Yeah, we've got a couple of prayer and Bible reading cliques around here. So
Right. That's a nice way to pass
So
the time, guys.
Good job, Matt.
Yeah, very nice, Matt.
Yeah, definitely been a lift having that.
Reed, you are pre-sentencing or pre-trial?
Well, so I was picked up in March 25th, and they took me to the Washington County Jail there in Washington County in Oregon, and drove me. That was a Sunday night, Sunday, and then stayed that night in jail, and they drove me to the Portland Federal Building for a holding hearing, and the judge. The pretrial people called my wife and said, well, this guy's an engineer. They lived here 25 years. He's never done anything outside the law. So the pretrial lady said I should be released. But it seemed to me the judge hadn't paid much attention to that because he was just in the middle of a conversation or a soliloquy to tell me that I have the sacred right to remain silent. At which point my lawyer, who had just come in and I met for the first time, he's a private lawyer, mentioned that I had tried to remain silent in the Washington County Jail, so they told me if I didn't talk, they'd assume I was suicidal, so I didn't say anything, and so they stripped me of my clothes and put me in basically a concrete block with nothing but a doggy pad to spend the night on. So that's how they helped my suicidalness. So anyways, when the judge heard that, she said, released! And I was told later by Federal Judge Hogan, who was one of the senior ones, that I was one of the few people charged with alleged felonies that have been released pre-trial. And so I spent 2.5 years out on pre-trial. It was basically just a Zoom meeting every month at my lawyer's office in Portland.
Yeah, well, I think I would be probably the other person who went through that because I was arrested in July 2021, and I spent almost 2 years to the day basically on pre-trial release. Right. And then after the trial, I became a felon. Right. And I come here. I am pre-sentencing. So you haven't...
I'm in the same boat because I just basically lost my jury trial last week on the 18th. Found guilty on all counts. And my lawyer was surprised at this, but they remanded me or held me back or whatever they call it. But basically I was marched out of the courtroom right into a jail. And so I'm waiting sentencing hearing, which would be in December.
Yeah, mine's in October. And there's no advice you can give someone in our situation. You go with a bench trial, you go with a jury trial. It's always such a crapshoot. We have people who have represented themselves, people who use court-appointed attorneys, people who have hired attorneys, and it just... What is amazing in this whole process is that it's such a high conviction rate, so unlike any other criminal trials, even for federal cases. And federal prosecutors are kind of known for having really good working relationships with the judges and being able to, talk their way around any kind of courtroom difficulties. And even so, the conviction rates aren't anywhere near as high as they are here for Jan 6ers. And that sticks out kind of like a sore thumb if you're looking at statistics overall. But I guess it doesn't come to the attention of the judges themselves, or they don't think it's material.
Well, we know coming in there,
one of those things.
It is predetermined, and Nicole Reffitt has sat in on more trials than anybody else I know, and she's there every day. Well, not today because we were at a committee hearing that was just ridiculous, but you see when you go in that courtroom, they're very much trying the day on the calendar and not the man for their actions. We know that. It's just so obvious with the evidence they let in, the evidence they let out. The prosecutors don't even have to try too hard. I swear to, we were in the courtroom the other day. There were two women up there running the prosecution table that looked like they barely rolled out of bed. Nobody combed their hair. Nobody brushed their teeth. They just showed up at the table and we're like, oh yeah, we're here. Because they know it's a slam dunk. They do. Yeah, they know it's a slam dunk conviction. They barely even have to try, and if they do start to mess up, the judge will go ahead and step in for them and tell them what they object to. We've seen it happen.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Actually, yeah.
They're just so lockstep. It's like they're one unit, and the FBI can run the prosecution's case, and I don't understand what it is. And these are just so I can let everybody know for these recorded purposes that these are Mickey Whithoff's opinions expressed, not the opinions of the men on the other end of the phone. That they are, kangaroo courts, and they are very predisposed. They already know what they're going to do before they come in there. We know it's going to be guilty. We know these jury trials are with people that absolutely say, and then the question number one, do you have strong feelings about January 6th? Every single one of them says yes, and they seat a jury out of these people. So we barely even stand a chance. And also, we've had juror members flip our defendants off. These people are being tried 5 and 6 people at a time. That's a violation of people's constitutional rights, and it goes on and on and on. But I'm going to give your 15 minutes back to you.
No, that's a good use of our time. So speaking for myself, I really think that a very strong case can be made that the venue needs to be changed. The cases have been made. It doesn't ever seem to matter what people say or what we ask juries to consider. And I just got to say, for me, it's been kind of a disappointing experience going through this. But you get here and you sort of swim in this sadness all the time. People coming back from their trials, people coming back from their sentencing, and all this stuff, and you just hear the stories and all the horrible things that have happened to these defendants, and it wears on you quite a bit. You're kind of swimming in a lot of sadness here. So we need to lighten things up. So I'm gonna go full Seinfeld and ask, what's the deal with the news and the shutdown? They all use the same verb, that it's looming, and I don't think that that's correct. I think that we can find other verbs to describe the shutdown. Like maybe it's enticingly winking. Because that's the way I see it. I've been in the Navy and I've worked in intelligence. I know what it's like to be one of the cool people, i.e. the essential workers for these government shutdowns. And I think if you work in government and you're not an essential worker, it's time to reevaluate your life priorities. Because very little in the world is as useless as the government, and then to be a not very useful government employee. Get a job at Ryan's Family Steakhouse or something like that. I don't know.
Well, we have, that being said, we went to a committee hearing today, and we pretty routinely sit on these committee hearings. And what's concerning to me is they don't even listen to each other. You see you go into these committee hearings, you see all these empty seats, and there are people standing beside the wall, and these are the congressional people's aides. And when it's almost their time to talk, they'll get a call to come in. But you see so many empty seats, like they come in and they say,
you have 1 minute remaining.
Damn. And then they don't even listen to each other, and it's just really ridiculous. I don't know how we can take them seriously when they're not required to attend their own committee hearings.
There's no real debate.
Yeah, there's no real debate. There's a bunch of people talking in an independent chamber, so
Their personality.
it's really quite ridiculous.
Debate has ended. Debate has ended a long time ago. I think the left is largely responsible for that because they shout down anyone who disagrees with them. And they've lost the capacity to debate over the years because of that. But yeah, the sad fact is now no one debates in D.C., so that's too bad. But we want to thank you guys for everything that you do. We appreciate everything. If anyone wants to look up Reed by his inmate number, feel free to do so. You know, if you want to send him letters, I get letters all the time, Reed. It's wonderful. I love getting letters. So, yeah, please keep those coming. Love them very much. Love you guys. Really appreciate all the...
Thank you for using.
That's okay. I knew she was going to get us.